Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Now, the government has sold its remaining shares in the Lloyds banking group, returning the bank fully into private hands. Lloyds received a £20 billion taxpayer bailout at the height of the financial crash 8 years ago. The bank says that's now been repaid in full, but not everyone is happy. Our business editor, Siobhan Kennedy, has been talking to the bank's chief executive and to some of those caught up in the crash. Here's her report.
Remember this.
The US government has allowed a major financial institution to go bust.
A financial crisis that brought the world's economy to its knees. Markets reeling, savers panicked and banks bailed out. Here, Lloyds was rescued from the brink in 2008. £20.3 billion of taxpayer money. Who would have thought that now, 9 years later, we've only just got that money back? The current boss, Antonio Horta Osorio, wasn't there for the bailout, but he has steered the turnaround that's led to today's payback.
Lloyds was a bank in a very fragile situation with a very weak financial condition. We have concentrated the bank back to the UK, focused on the real economy, on households, on small and medium-sized corporates. Our purpose is to help Britain prosper.
So your point is, all of that you needed the 9 years. It couldn't have been done any quicker.
Well, we were the first bank in the UK to give taxpayers money back, and some more, and we are very proud about it.
But your numbers presumably don't take account of the interest payments that the government has had to pay on the colossal amount it had to borrow to bail you out in the first place.
Well, I think you can do the calculations in many possible ways.
But that's true, isn't it?
What I'm telling you is that the taxpayers put £20.3 billion in the bank, and we gave back 21.2. So £900 million more than what was originally put.
The return, if you like, for taxpayers for bailing you out 9 years later is negligible.
Well, I would disagree with that. I think taxpayers did not invest in this bank to have return. Taxpayers invested in this bank because this bank was about to collapse.
To give him his due, Lloyds is today a very different bank. 200 billion of toxic assets drained, zero debt, and nearly £8 billion in profit last year. But the sins of the past are not yet fully absolved. The biggest not of Lloyds making, but of fraud that started inside HBOS, even before that bank was rescued by Lloyds at the height of the credit crunch. Mr. Horta Osorio has since apologised and promised to compensate business victims of that fraud, including Paul and Nikki Turner, who led a campaign to expose it.
Is it possible that they're still having demands from the bank to pay the arrears in their mortgage when the fraud has now been exposed? Surely the payments for at least their mortgage, having exposed it, should be waived.
I'm sorry to tell you that is not correct. I cannot comment on individual customer cases, but we made very public on a press release we announced already a month ago that we were writing off all debts from customers.
So their mortgage debts is written off?
We have written off all debts to customers as we made public in a press release a month ago.
But when we played that to Paul Turner today, here was his reaction.
I'm sure probably that Mr. Horta Osorio has every intention of making sure that the debt is written off, but we don't have the paperwork to support that. We do keep getting letters asking us to carry on paying and discharge company debts.
How difficult has it been for you and Nikki over these, and all your family over this past?
Well, it's been incredibly difficult for my family and other victims. And we're now, because our daughters talk about it, we're now hearing things that they were doing at the time, which...
Oh, what were they doing, Paul?
It's just upsetting.
Of course, yeah.
But you don't realise it at the time.
Tonight, Lloyds has written to Paul and Nikki Taylor, telling them all their debts are finally cancelled. A fitting end, perhaps, to one of the most sorry periods in British banking history. Lloyds has come back to life and can finally start to build a new future. Not so for its high street rival RBS. That's a story still waiting for its final chapter.
Siobhan Kennedy reporting.
I've been getting away with it all